There is a moment in the history of the Church that every Catholic should know. It was 1378. A pope died in Rome, and in the confusion of the subsequent election, a group of French cardinals refused to recognize the new pontiff. They declared the see vacant. They declared that the legitimate pope was another. The Great Western Schism had begun. That story seemed buried in the history books. But what happened on May 2, 2026, in a small monastery on the Orkney Islands in Scotland will send shivers down your spine. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the Transalpine Redemptorist statement is not the story of a marginal community lost in SEDE vacantism. It is the clearest symptom we have seen so far of the profound crisis facing the Catholic tradition, and of the irresolvable paradox that Rome has created for itself. Let's see what exactly happened. On May 2, 2026, the Congregation of the Sons of the Most Holy Redeemer, headquartered in Scotland, published a letter signed by all members of the community. The content is unequivocal. The community declares the SEDE VACANTE. It does not recognize Leo XIV as the legitimate pope. And more profoundly, he does not recognize as legitimate popes any of his predecessors since Paul VI. That is, any post-Second Vatican Council pope. The post-conciliar popes, they write, embraced, promoted, and acted upon indifferentism. That heresy that the pre-conciliar popes had condemned as deadly heresy. The solution they propose is radical: the convocation of an imperfect general council to judge the very legitimacy of the current pontificate. The community has 3 monasteries: the Mother House at Papa Stronsay in Orkney, a house in the Diocese of Christchurch in New Zealand, and a pioneer community in the Diocese of Great Falls Billings in Montana, USA. Small in number, large in symbolism. Pay attention to this detail. The letter does not come from a small group of self-taught or uneducated Catholics. The Transalpine Redemptorists are a community with a precise, serious, and documented history. Founded in the tradition of the Society of St. Pius X, they were known for their fidelity to the traditional Mass, the pre-conciliar liturgy, and classical Redemptorist spirituality. Who are the Transalpine Redemptorists, and why does this declaration change everything? In 2008, 16 years ago, this same community made a courageous choice that went against the grain of the Society of St. Pius X. They had chosen the path of canonical regularization. They had made an act of communion with Rome. The bishops of the dioceses had welcomed them into their dioceses with full episcopal approval. They were, in every canonical and practical sense, within the Church. That choice in 2008 had been presented as the main path, regularization as the solution to the crisis. Faithful to tradition, but in full communion with Rome. This is the exact model that Tuccio and Leo XIV proposed to the SSPX today as an alternative to the excommunication of July 1, 2026. In the 16 years of that communion, the Transalpine Redemptorists have seen the pontificate of Benedict XV with the hope of Summorum Pontificum. They saw the pontificate of Francis with the axe blow of Traditionis Custodes. They witnessed the first months of Leo XIV with the progressive appointments, the silence on the traditional Mass, and the Anglican bishop blessed at the tomb of Peter. And on May 2, 2026, they wrote their response. There's a second level to consider. This isn't just the failure of a single community. It's empirical proof, with names, dates, and documents, that canonical regularization doesn't heal the wound. A community can enter into communion with Rome. He can spend 16 years in that communion, and he can come to the conclusion that the problem isn't his own canonical position, but but the very legitimacy of those who sit on the throne of Peter. The timing is brilliant. There are 59 days to go until July 1st, 2026, the date when the SSPX will consecrate the new bishops of Econ, and Leo XIV will have to decide whether to declare excommunication. In this context, the Transalpine Redemptorists statement is a warning Rome would do well to read. Not all traditionalist communities, faced with canonical pressure, choose regularization. Some choose the exact opposite. This is the point that no major media outlet has made clearly. The statement by the French Redemptorists is the most radical possible response to the question traditionalists have been asking for years. How can the Church's crisis be resolved? Rome's response is, regularize yourselves, enter into communion, collaborate. The response of these monks, after 16 years of that communion, is, the crisis is so profound that the Pope himself is not legitimate. And the question every Catholic is asking right now is this the end of the road for the Transalpine Redemptorists, or is it the beginning of something greater? Because they are not alone. After them, how many traditionalist communities, still in canonical communion with Rome, are reading that letter and acknowledging their own doubts? Let's return to the historical parallel we opened with. The Great Western Schism lasted 39 years, from 1378 to 1417. For nearly 40 years, faithful Catholics prayed for different popes. Saints prayed for different popes. Saint Catherine of Siena supported Urban VI in Rome. Saint Vincent Ferrer supported Benedict XIV in Avignon, both saints opposing popes. The problem of sedevacantism is not new. It didn't originate with Vatican II. It's a temptation that has pervaded the history of the Church every time the institutional crisis exceeds a certain threshold of tolerance. History teaches us that the Church survives schisms, but it also teaches us that schisms leave scars that last for centuries. Not because the Transalpine Redemptorists are right or wrong about sedevacantism. That is a complex theological question that requires a whole other exploration. The thrill comes from something else, from the demonstration that canonical regularization doesn't heal the wound, it can even widen it. The Church needs not diplomatic agreements, but doctrinal clarity, not canonical documents, but pastors who lead with faith. It's what traditionalists have been asking for decades. It's what this small community on the Orkney Islands has stopped waiting for. The Catholic response to sedevacantism isn't condemnation, it's conversion, not of the departing community, but of those who remain and must ask themselves what could have been done differently. Tradition does not abandon the Church. It asks the Church not to abandon tradition. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.